Hello, and how are you? Forgive me if I sound awkward. I've never been the best at talking on the spot. I didn't have much direction going into this piece. It was a cute little idea that had been simmering for the last few days. Admittedly, it came out looking more surreal than what I had in mind. I already knew I wanted some big flat land. I find plains to be very comforting. The beginning stage of painting, especially for clothes, always feels a bit awkward. During this time, the whole form looks rather confused. Most likely because I constantly double back on whatever paint stroke I had just made a second prior. But once you start to introduce more contrasting values, especially around tension points in the fabric, its flow becomes much clearer. This was probably my favorite part. Now, I did not look up any reference for sunflowers, so I'm just gonna roll with the idea that this is accurate. I was pleasantly surprised with the texture my brush had in nailing the softer side of those petals. Of the potted sunflowers I pass by every morning on campus. I felt bad that they never looked like they were getting enough water. Lost some of the original gesture in that arm as I rendered it. As I noticed how clunky it was getting, I tried to smooth it down, but I already knew it was a lost cause. Guess I'll just hide my mistakes. I really like this shade of red. There's some regality to it. I wish I had used it more. I'm trying to stretch out the rendering process for this figure as long as I can, because that's the only part I found fun, really. Now, the good thing about these wide, flat landscapes is that there is absolutely zero brainpower that goes into it. Hills are the pinnacle of scenery. Unfortunately, I wasn't exempt from adding texture at the very least. For that, I messed around a bit and found myself liking the texture of the pointillism brush. I have no other brushes besides the very basics of Clip Studio, so recommendations are welcome. Here is where I started to crumble. I don't have the mental capacity to paint grass. That's the danger of starting with your favorite part. Mentally, I'm gone. Using a linear burn layer for shading followed by an add glow layer, it looks just convincing enough not to feel ashamed.
But remember, don't hesitate to call on me for anything. Like you said, a human being, I'm going to make you take that chance. Things have been different for me ever since I met Hildy. I've never met anyone quite like her before.
Some minimal effort to add texture in the background there. There was a disconnect in the colors of the figure and the background I put them in. Solved it by adding lighting layers more similar to the back color scheme. The cottagecore shed has been abolished. I cannot be bothered any longer. I went back and forth on the new shading layer and whether or not I should keep it, but ultimately I decided not to. I'm a huge fan of dramatic lighting, but sometimes enough is enough. A few finishing touches. I wanted to make sure that the lighting layer from earlier would blend into the drawing. I used the blur tool to make figures blend against a background, just so it's a bit less jarring. And that's about it.